back to my channel. Hi, my name's Claudia. I'm a salon owner, lash technician, makeup artist and mum of a 1-year-old, Louie, that's who I'm going to be talking about today and how he entered the world. If you've been following me on Instagram, you will know that I had a pretty bizarre birth. I feel like I've told this story thousands and thousands of times. When I'm in the salon and clients come in and obviously you just get onto the conversation, I think my business partner is just so sick of hearing it. But at least now I can just send them a link to my YouTube and just be like, hun, like, go on YouTube, it's on there. So yeah. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I did highlight the day after my son was born. I did an array of stories, which was a little story time, and I had so many messages of people just laughing, I suppose at my expense. But when I do tell this story, people do say to me that they're like, oh my god, it must have been so traumatic. For me, it wasn't traumatic, but that's me and how I feel about the situation. For someone else, it could be traumatic. So I'm going to jump right into it. So in the first lockdown, I became pregnant with my son Louie. I think I had a really healthy pregnancy. Towards the end I had a bit of monitoring, but honestly I just think it was because I worked right up until Boris shut the salon. So I think my feet were just taking a bit of a battering and my blood pressure was high just because I just was working right until the very end. So in regards to birth plans, I always wanted a home birth. So a lot of people assume because of the pandemic that's why I wanted a home birth. It's not that at all. I've always wanted a home water birth, just because statistically people birth better at home. Although it is my first and people say it's risky, I didn't believe it was that risky because I had a really healthy pregnancy. Everything was fine. So for me, home birth was definitely the way forward. Obviously, if I did get told that there's a risk of having a home birth in regards to something being wrong with Louie when he came out, yeah, I obviously wouldn't have done it, but I've never had anyone tell me that I couldn't. If anything, they were pushing it to say, have you ever thought of a home birth? Which is actually quite ironic when you get to the end of the story. So yeah, every time I went to my midwife appointment, she was like, oh, so have you thought about home birth? And I was thinking, hun, I told you last week that I wanted one. Like, my last appointment, I told you I wanted one, so can you just remember, please? I decided that not only was I just going to have a home birth, I was going to do some hypnobirthing as well. So I did a hypnobirthing course with the Positive Birth Company online. It was a digital course. I think it cost $39.99. And it's literally just, I can't remember how many videos, but there's so many videos and worksheets that you can print off, take you through labour. I didn't really use them, to be honest, because some of it just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't really want Lewis telling me how great I was and how amazing I was during labour. Like, I don't think he would have done it either. I feel like he probably would have been a bit embarrassed to do that. But the videos were absolutely amazing. The lady who does the course is called Siobhan, I think. They're absolutely amazing, especially because it was lockdown, so there was no hypnobirthing classes going on anyway, but it was just great because I could just sit in the bath and just watch a video, and they're probably about like 8 minutes long at most, like each video, so you got through it so quickly. And honestly, I can't recommend it anymore. I learned so much on that hypnobirthing course. When you first get pregnant, you just think, when you go into labour, it's just like, you just got to push your baby out and it just really hurts because but no, like, it literally taught me what my body was doing during each stage of labour, which I'm so grateful that I did it, because by the time we get to the end of my labour story, a lot of why I didn't feel it was traumatic and how I stayed calm was because of that hypnobirthing course. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the Positive Birth Company hypnobirthing course, the digital pack, which is, I think that's what it's called. I'll put a link to it in the description anyway. So yeah, I wanted a home water birth and I did my hypnobirthing. So again, everything was fine. So we was in lockdown, and then obviously we had Christmas and then New Year. So Louie was due on the 16th of January. So yeah, I just was a big lump over Christmas basically, and was just so fed up by the end. I think Lewis just kept finding me around the house asleep. He was like, you're like a cat, you just wake up to eat and then just go back to sleep. And I was like, yeah, how it feels. Of the birth. Well, actually it was the day before, technically. So I'd been going in and out of hospital for monitoring, because when I went to my last midwife appointment, they said that my blood pressure was high and that I needed to be checked because it wasn't going down. I get white coat syndrome anyway. If you don't know what that is, basically when you go to like a medical environment and you get anxious, your blood pressure obviously goes up. And because every time I took my blood pressure at home, it was absolutely fine. It was only when I went to these monitoring things and when I was at my midwife appointments that it would be high, which is really annoying because then they wouldn't leave me alone. I was in the hospital for about 7 hours the first time. I don't know why. I was in the triage ward and I was thinking, I don't even know why I'm here. There's people like in labour, like in the next cubicle, and I'm thinking, I don't know why I'm here. Like, my blood pressure's high because you're panicking me. But anyways, after the 7 hours during a pandemic in a hospital when you're pregnant for no reason, I got picked up, cried my eyes out, and then they said, right, you've got to come back tomorrow. So I was like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, at least I'll get some sleep and I'll go back. So I go back, right, and I'm sitting in the little, this was a different place, this is like, it wasn't triage, it was like a different ward, ward 22, 32, something like that, I don't know. So yeah, I was in there I had one of those little things around my belly, monitoring the baby, which is absolutely fine. And then my blood pressure, they kept coming in to take that as well. So a lady walks in and she's like, you need to go into this room. And it was honestly, it was like the tiniest office. I felt like I got put in the chokey. I was like, what's going on? And she was like, so yesterday on the ward that you're in, bear in mind I was there for no reason, there was a COVID exposure, so now you've got to self-isolate. I was like, right, okay, so locked me in the chokey, literally just sat in this room, like, and then she took my blood pressure and I was thinking, are you joking? Are you actually joking me, hun? You're gonna tell me that and then take my blood pressure? But anyways, that was that, and I went home and I was just like, get me out of this fucking shithole. Then I went home and I was thinking, oh my god, now I've got to self-isolate. And then Lewis was like, well, I'm gonna have to isolate as well. And this was like days before the birth, like, and obviously I was having a home birth, so I was just like, oh my god, like, I wanted my mum to be there, I wanted, like, so yeah, it was just scary, but still I was like, do you know what, it'll be fine. And then I got a phone call from the hospital that night and they were like, hun, it was a false positive. And I'm just like, they keep chucking it and they keep checking my blood pressure, telling me these scary things, and then taking my blood pressure, and I'm just like, anyways, so I didn't have to self-isolate. It was all a load of nonsense and I didn't have to sit in that room, and it was just, so I just said, I was like, nah, there is no chance in hell I will be going back there on the Monday, because they wanted me to go back Monday for my monitoring, and I was just like, no, I'm getting this baby out. But I didn't really think he would come because he was due on the 16th, so I thought it's my first, like, it's my first baby, so normally they come late, don't they? But Louie just wanted to get out. It was the next day. I woke up and I just sort of had, like, I don't even know how to explain them, just little like cramps. It was like, it just felt like, obviously I know I couldn't have a period because I was pregnant, but it just felt like a little tiny period pains, like they weren't bad. So I went to the toilet and then obviously I saw my mucus plug started coming away and I was like, oh, something's happening today. So I got all excited and was like, right, let's get up this water pool. So basically I hired a water birth pool from the NHS. So in Luton and Dunstable area, I don't know if this is every area, like, do they do it in every area, but they rent them out to you. So you don't have to buy a pool, etc., or rent it from another company. The NHS will rent you it if there's one available. And there was one available. All I had to buy was, I'll put the link in the description, but you literally get like it all in a pack. So it was like a hose and like new attachments, stuff like that, and a liner, because obviously you don't want to use someone else, it's a bit gross. So yeah, you order that and then that's all you really need, to be honest. They tell you to get like black towels. So she gave me this whole list at my midwife appointment of the stuff that I needed. Positive Birth Company, there was like a list of things on there as well, which is quite good. So I sort of got loads of stuff on there. So it's just like energy stuff, like food, snacks. Like we went out and bought like the midwives biscuit. We went out and bought them snacks for them to like eat while they were there, like loads of tea bags. Like we were prepared for this home birth. Oh, floor covers. After my mucus plug started coming away, I was like, right, let's get this pool up. Obviously you can't fill it with water until you're in like active labour, because there's just no point. It can slow labour down as well once you get in, so ideally you want to wait until you're in the second stage. So yeah, we blew up the pool. I will insert a picture of Lewis sitting in the pool. He's the only one who actually got to sit in it in the end. And yeah, I was just chilling all day really. I had these like pains, but that was about it. I honestly thought, nah, it's gonna be a couple of days yet, because I know that you can go into like, you start like getting pains like a few days before the labour anyway. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a couple of days. So yeah, and then I was getting tightenings as well, but I was thinking, nah, that's definitely just, surely it has to be more intense than this. Do you know what I mean? Like I was watching YouTube videos all the time of like positive births and stuff, and I was sitting there like, these people like bowled over in pain, and I'm like, why do I, like, obviously like I didn't feel like that, so I just assumed that it wasn't labour, or it was just the very, very, very start of a slow labour. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I was just chilling with my headphones on, getting that oxytocin flowing. Do you know what I mean? About 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, I'm a bit tired. I said, I'm gonna go up to bed and have a little nap, because obviously if I'm going to labour soon, or in the next couple of days, I do want to have some energy. So I wanted to just conserve my energy and go up to bed and just chill really. So I went up to get some sleep, and I think I must have been asleep for about an hour, and then bam, like this pain just, do you know what, I heard it. I actually heard it. So I don't know if that was my waters breaking and I'd been slowly dilating all day. I just don't know, but I wasn't in that much pain. It just, this pain just like went up for me, and I just remember like rolling over like, I can't breathe. It was like so sharp, and then I was like, and then I was like, right, maybe that was my waters. So after the pain went, I was like, right, I'm gonna go to the toilet, sit on the toilet now, and I'm pushing, you know, I literally, so I sit on the toilet now, and I'm like, Lewis. So there's no gush of water or nothing, so I thought it might not be my waters. So I was thinking, what was that pain about? And then I sat on the toilet, and my body, no word of a lie, I was literally like this on the toilet. Lewis was like, do you need your dressing gown? Are you cold? I was like, no. And because I watched the Positive Birth Company videos, I was like, it's just the adrenaline coming in. I was like, but I want to push. So obviously, like, I knew at that point that I was shaking, I was in my transition, and I was heading straight into stage 2 of labour, and we were about to get this baby out, and I was thinking, no one's here apart from me and Lewis. So I was like, Lewis, you need to ring them and tell them that I'm pushing. I could not stop pushing. Listen to me when I say to you, I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like, like, the only way I can describe the pain is like, you got the shits, you know them cramps you get when you get the shits, but you're constipated at the same time. So it's the only way I could describe this pain, or this feeling of like, so yeah, anyway, I was like, right, Lewis, you need to ring the delivery suite and get them to come here, because this baby is coming now. So he rings them, and they're like, what's the name? He's like, Bloody Johnson. Oh, we haven't got her down for a home birth. And I'm like, right, so you're telling me my midwife asked me every single midwife appointment that, do I want a home birth, do I want a home birth? When she finally got the picture that I wanted one, after telling her after every appointment, she then rented me a pool and wrote my name down on the list of people that have rented a pool. I don't really know what they thought I was going to do with it if they didn't book me down for a home birth. I wasn't looking for a swim, Janice. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, they rented me, and that's what Lewis said. He said, but you've rented her a pool for this home birth, so she must be on the list. Meanwhile, I'm still on the toilet like, they're like, oh, well, what we'll do, is it her first baby? And Lewis was like, yes. And automatically they assumed that it was going to be a while and I was just being a drama queen. And I'm thinking, no, this baby's coming. So they were like, okay, we'll go through all the paperwork. Yeah, we'll go through all the paperwork with you over the phone. And Lewis is like, she's pushing her baby out on the toilet. And they're like, is there heating at the property? Is there parking at the property? And Lewis is like going through this list like, yes, like we need to be quick. Then they were like, we'll ring you back in 15 minutes. I'm like, this ain't gonna work. They were like, if you just get her downstairs. So I sort of like stood up, and if you've had a baby, you'll know that you just feel like you have a melon hanging out your vag. Like, it's maddest feeling. So I was like waddling down the stairs and trying to get down there, and I just walked straight into the downstairs toilet. All I wanted to do was sit on the toilet, and I didn't want to sit anywhere else. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I said to Lewis, "Are they rang back?" No. And I'm like, all right, okay, well, we're gonna have to ring an ambulance, because I knew that they had gas and air. So I was thinking, pain relief, this is what I need. And I know, like, I've seen 999, what's your emergency? They deliver babies, they're cool, they get there quick. So yeah, so we needed to ring them. So Lewis rings them. He's on the phone to the dispatcher person. The paramedic, so they basically said the paramedics were on his way and it will have an ambulance soon. I meanwhile moved to the sofa to slow it down, because I know giving birth on your back is a good way to slow your birth down. So I went to lay on my back on the sofa just to try and slow it down so someone could come. So I'm sitting there literally like pooing, like, I'm so sorry for the nitty gritty and I'm going to tell you. Lewis on the phone to this lady, she's like, right, what I need you to do is to grab a shoelace. Bless Lewis's heart, right? My man don't even pick his laundry up off the floor. But he was like, do I need to sterilise it? I was like, so obviously I'm still mooing and shitting on the sofa, babe. I'm pooing on my sofa. And that is basically what was happening. And Lewis is looking down to see if he can see ahead. And I'm like, just forgive me for this vision of me that you have right now. The funniest thing was that I tried to shave my poon on that morning and literally missed half of it. And Lewis was like, yeah, you've missed half of your hair. So I was sitting on my sofa, basically pooing on the sofa. Luckily we had blankets and stuff. So yeah, and it just felt like Lewis was just watching me poo on the sofa. The ambulance said they were on the way, they were taking ages. At one point, I was still mooing and Lewis left his phone and the dispatcher in between my legs to see if he could go and wave down the ambulance. And all I could hear was, hello, hello, are you still there? Hello, hello. And I was like, who's outside? She must have thought, oh my God, what sort of demon is giving birth? Lewis is wearing black, it's dark, picture is it's about 11:30 at night or 12 at night. Lewis is outside trying to wave an ambulance down because they said, oh, they were at number 48, sorry, and we lived at 68. And the poor people who lived there got a knock on the door at midnight to say, are you giving birth? Obviously not. So Lewis has gone outside to wave them down. Sorry, my throat was so tickly. Anyways, so Lewis is waving the ambulance down outside, wearing black, in the dark. Not very wise, but God love him. So they eventually came in, walking to me, laying on the sofa, mooing like this. And he's like, right, hooked me up to all the machines and stuff. I don't know what machines they were. I had something on my finger. Yeah. And then he gave me the gas and air and I was like, ah. In walk Paul, Andy and Dave. Paul, Andy and Dave were the paramedics on the ambulance. So I had an ambulance and a little paramedic car outside the house. They're my heroes, man. They hooked me up to all the machines and then I was just like, mate, I need to get in a better position. We need to get this baby out. I did say to Paul, I said, Paul, have you got anything where you can monitor the baby, see if the baby's okay? Because that was just my main thing. I was thinking, right, if I know that the baby's okay, then I can relax. And he was like, no, we don't actually carry that equipment. And knowing you're like, sorry? I could buy it on Amazon. Why is it not on your ambulance? But anyway, in my head, I just thought, you know what, team, here we go. We better get this baby out ASAP. So let's do this. So I was like, right, can I get in a better position? They were like, yeah. So hopped off the sofa onto all fours. Yep. Bearing in mind, I had nothing on my bottom half. I'm just like all fours in the front room in front of 4 men, 1 my partner. He was safely at the head end. But yeah, so I'm literally, I can feel poo coming out of my arse. I'm not even gonna lie, it was coming out. And at one point Andy was like, Claudia, I'm just gonna give you a little wipe. And I was like, thank you. 5 points to Paul. No, 5 points to Andy, man. He had me, he had my back, literally, he had my back. So yeah, so he's wiping my bum. I've got Paul at the front just talking to me. I can't even remember what he was saying. But between contractions, I was just like chill. I was just like laughing. And I thought, what the hell is going on? What the actual hell is going on? I was just sort of laughing. I was just thinking, this is so bizarre. I thought I was going to have a nice peaceful... I had tea lights. Tea lights. Little, obviously battery powered ones. On my TV unit, thinking I'd bloody put them on. Well, what a joke. That didn't happen, did it? So, my relaxing birth... anyway, so I'm pushing and pushing, and then I thought, right, I need to work with gravity here. So I went and leaned on the sofa, made sure Andy was still there, because I heard that you have a clear out before you go into labour. I obviously didn't, and it just happened during labour, which was amazing. Thanks, Andy. Peace out. Yeah, so it was just like teamwork makes the dream work. Lewis was rubbing my back. Paul said to me, oh, I think your contractions are slowing down. And I was like, nah, they can't be, because I can feel something coming. And I could feel the burn. And I was like, can you see ahead? And they were like, no, I think your contractions are slowing down. And they all looked at each other like I was being dramatic. And I'm thinking, I know something you don't. I know something you will never know. That this baby's coming out, and I can feel it. So literally, my next contraction came. I was just biting on the gas and air, like, I wasn't even sucking it in. They were trying to teach me how to do it, and I was just like, I can't do it. So yeah, I knew if my next contraction there'd be ahead. I could feel it. I could feel it. And they're trying to tell me my contractions slowed down. I was thinking, nah. So yeah, one push more and Louie's little head popped out. Louis said it looked like a purple orange. He said it was like literally like that small, like an orange, and then it just like inflated. I'm watching Hypnobirthing. I sort of learned that once the head's out, that's the hardest part, and then you just gotta, the body just comes out like a little slippery octopus. So I was just like, and then with the next push, honestly, the gush of water and everything that came out with Louie was absolutely mental. It was insane. So by this point, I'm feeling a bit haggard. I'm just a bit like, I will insert a picture of what I look like at this moment. It's not a vibe. It is not a vibe. I forgot to tell you about Dave. So Dave was the note taker. So he was sitting on my puffy, taking notes on, you know, today's events. The day's events. Do you know what I mean? I was on my hands and knees. The TV went off, and it's just quite awkward to like give birth in front of 4 men on your own, being the only woman. It's just a bit awkward, you know what I mean? So I was like, will someone turn the telly back on? So I had the telly back on, and Lewis decided to put 80s, no, not 80s, it's Magic. You know, Magic FM, they have like a music channel, don't they? He put Magic on. Yeah. So I gave birth. Louie came out to Livin' the Vida Loca by Ricky Martin. That is the song he was born to. We did it as a team. Then at 1:35, Louie was born at 1:34, and then at about 1:45, so about 10 minutes later, the midwives arrived. Alright Janice, better late than never darling, better late than never. She's like, right, hi Claudia, I hope you're okay, we're going to help you deliver your placenta. I'm thinking, hun, we have just delivered this whole baby between the 4 of us. Bear in mind that Paul, Andy, Dave and Lewis had never delivered a baby before. It was their first baby that they'd ever bloody delivered. So, I mean, hats off to them. They did a grand job. Episode of Call the Midwife. You know, the one where her mum, she gives birth in secret at home because she's underage. And then her mum tries to help her deliver the placenta. She like pulls it and pulls out her womb with it. I said to the lady I was laying there, I was like, please don't pull out my womb. She was just looking at me like I was crazy. But anyway, it came out like a bag of fluid. And yeah, long story short, baby was born and I had to get shipped back off to Luton and Dunstable for more monitoring. So we're back where we started basically, and that was my birth story. I mean, basically the key things to learn here are that we need to, if we're going to book home births, we need to actually book people in for them. I mean, to be fair, he did come out in, so I had like my first pay, so I probably started pushing at about 12 o'clock, about half 11, 12, and he came out at 1:34, so it was a very quick labour. So I don't think by the time I'd waddled out the house, got ready, and just taken stuff, I don't think I would have made it to the hospital anyway. Going forward though, I haven't told this story to say that home births shouldn't happen, because I would still have a home birth with my next baby if I'm lucky enough to have another pregnancy. I'm all for home births. I personally believe that the reason I was so quick and Louie was so quick was because I was at home and I was just relaxed and I was happy and just at home, my own environment. I think that's why my labour progressed so quickly and he came out as quick as he did, and early. So yeah, I'm definitely recommending home births 100%. I'd never say never do it, obviously unless you've got a medical reason not to do it and you've been advised against it. And I'd definitely recommend hypnobirthing, because I really believe as well that during my labour, because I knew what was happening inside my body and I knew what I needed to do, it just kept me so calm. So definitely recommend hypnobirthing as well. But yeah, that was my birth story. As I said, I view it as a positive experience. Other people might have found it traumatic or distressing, which I completely understand. So yeah, for me it was a positive story, and I feel like although the midwives didn't come, we're still lucky enough to have amazing paramedics for the NHS that literally I couldn't have asked for better people. Although as a woman you almost think that you would want women there who have been through it to sort of like help you deliver a baby. Nah. Andy, my arse wiper. Paul, my gas and air man, my hype man. Then we had Mr. Notes in the corner. I mean, he was just there. And then Lewis was amazing as well, honestly. So yeah, the paramedics and Lewis were absolutely amazing. If it wasn't for them, it probably would have been a bit traumatic or distressing, but they literally kept me so calm. And that's my birth story. I hope you enjoyed it. Makeup and Mum by Claudia Rose. Subscribe, like this video, and yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.